I just look around Failsworth Mustard and wonder what else would I have done. Obviously, I've been in a band with John years before the Roses started up the Waterfront, and then I disappeared, flitted off around Europe, being a bit of a scoundrel, like you do. And I've got you to thank for the job, Clint, because didn't you see him and then passed a message on to Mark Gregg or something? Yeah. So I phoned up and it was just like, yeah, why don't we think here? And that's the last final piece of the jigsaw. But I used to go watching them everywhere, you know. And we used to go out to Clouds in Preston when there was that bloody Wild West Brawl and all that. And I was mental. I always knew they were going to get there, even though musically they probably weren't right in the old days. You know, I used to quite enjoy the punkier stuff, though. I always thought they had a great presence and great songs. Knew they would get there. And weirdly, at the back of my mind, I always knew I'd get in him again, you know, I'll get working with him. So one chance encounter with the Boon led to me getting off the dole for 20 years. Cheers, Clint.
So you're doing these gigs around Manchester, like a lot of you were doing the first warehouse gigs that a lot of us had ever heard of, because it didn't exist that as a format for doing live music. People didn't just storm a warehouse and put a gig on, but you started doing that kind of stuff.
No doubt the Cockneys will be trying to claim credit for that now, like they do. But it wasn't them, it was us Northern monkeys.
Exactly. So it came time to make the album. There's a lot of stories about you, particularly you, targeting John Leckie because of his work with the Dukes of Stratosphere.
Yeah, well, do you know what? I can't, like... I think Jeff Travis had suggested him, and I went, yeah, I've got these XCC as the Dukes of the Stratosphere albums, and they're really dense and sonically they're brilliant, you know. The guy's got a track record where he's worked on like Lennon stuff and early Floyd gear and stuff, and he was like the tape op at Abbey Road. So the guy knows his onions. And I remember playing the Dukes of the Stratosphere, the 25 o'clock LP, to Ian and John, and they went, yeah, that's great. His sounds are like really retro. He knows how to get the sounds that we want, but then we want to kind of get that and modernise it, bring it up to date, kind of thing. And we met him, and he's a great guy, man. And his track record speaks for itself, you know, it's everything, Bebop Deluxe. He's not really put a foot wrong, and it was a dream match-up, you know. Yeah. Do
you remember the sessions? I know it was a big party time for you, but do you have memories of the actual sessions?
Listen, we worked hard. We did party hard, as you know. You've been around it, Clint, but we worked for years to even before we went in the studios. I used to take 2 buses from Failsworth with me gear, hopping on buses to this Spirit Lock-up in Chorlton, and spend all day from 10 in the morning till 10 at night, sitting about, jamming and learning, progressing, you know. And it's not like it just happened overnight. It was work for. Even though we had our lazy moments when we were in work mode, we were in hyper work mode, you know.
For very industrious working class lads who knew exactly what they wanted and knew all about the history of pop music, where some bands just come in and you were the producer, do what you think. You sort of had a very definite idea of what you wanted, but you said you were quite industrious.
Yeah, exactly, because between the 4 of us, we covered the whole gamut of music, you know, from Northern Soul, punk, classic Birds, Love, you know, classic 60s stuff, Buffalo Springfield and what have you. And I think we like the look of the Birds and the harmonies, and we wanted to fuse that with something a bit tougher, like, you know, like the politics and rawness of the Clash. So that's kind of what we're aiming at. Leckie was great as a translator for our thoughts, you know. Oftentimes you will get a producer who'll just sit there and go, right, do this, do that, do the other, but it was a real two-way traffic between us and John, and I like to think he learned a lot from us as we learned from him, you know. Me and Ian actually took him out to a warehouse party in London and said, watch this, and we got done the pill and everything, and went for the jump about, and it was just, I remember just looking around it in my mind. Now I can just look around and see Leckie's head with his white jacket on, just like, what's this all about? But he's lived through the psychedelic era, so he wasn't a newcomer to it. But it was good that we said, right, this is what's happening, we want to try and get a bit of this vibe in there as well, and he's really open to suggestion, John. Yeah. He's a good guy. We're a brutally honest and truthful band, and a lot of bands will deny their influences, but we just wear them on our sleeves, you know what I mean? That's how it was, you know. We wanted to culture people to look backwards, take from that and make it into something new. I'm not ashamed to say that we're massively into the Birds and Love and stuff like that, and we just moved it into a modern day context and into the consciousness, moved those bands back into people's consciousness, you know. And it's a learning curve for us, and it's also, we want fans to learn about what makes us tick as well. And bands, we wanted bands to know about what made us tick, so they could take it on board and go and start bands, you know. And one of the first prime mandate for the Roses was let's teach people that music and rock and roll isn't a closed shop. If we can do it, get other people to do it. So we wanted to start other people in bands. You know, your Dickie Ashcrofts and your Nolan Liams and Mark Morris from the Blue Tones and maybe even Blur, you know, when they were Seymour and stuff. Any of them turn around to you and say they were influences by the Stone Roses, they're damn blasted liars, man. I was gutted because it was a real slow burner. It didn't have that immediate top 10 album impact. I think it eventually scrambled in at 19. And, you know, it never went to number one. I don't think the album has ever been at number one. You probably correct me if I'm wrong, but, you know, it spent a year and a bit on the charts in the top 40, and it's 20 years down the line, it still does very well. It charted again about another 3 years ago, so that's some testimony to people's taste and the fact that I think we wrote good songs. We always had this politics of it's not about the money, it's about education and having a bloody good time as well.
When you listen to the album now, is there anything about it that you'd change personally in a production sense?
Well, do you know what? I think I'd have liked it to be a bit beefier, you know, but John's interpretation of it was he went fully at the melody and brought out the beauty in the songs. We kind of maybe had a beef with it because we wanted it to sound more like live because we're a lot heftier live. But I wouldn't change anything about it, man. You know, it is what it is. We had to go at the heftier, beefier sound on the second album and it didn't quite do it, but that's another story. But I wouldn't change an absolute thing about it. I think the running order, the way the songs sat with each other were great. There's a continuity about it. It's one of those albums that are very rare that every song's got something going for it.
Do you have a favourite track on the album, Manny?
Well, obviously The End of Resurrection is there. I've always really had a thing for She Bangs the Drums. And I've always had a thing for This Is the One because Man United come out to it at every home game now and it's like there's another 37.5p in someone's bank account. Thank you very much, you know what I mean?
Why do you think the album became so monumental and iconic? It's fair to say something with Sgt. Pepper's and never mind the bollocks in terms of an iconic record, Nevermind by Nirvana. Why do you think that is?
We caught onto a moment in time. It was a time of absolute change. You know, we look at the politics in Europe and the Ceausescu's and the wall coming down, and it was a time of revolution, and we were singing revolutionary songs. You know, behind the sugar sweet melodies, there's some real hatred in the lyrics, and it's all about revolution and change. And I think that we just caught the right time. We were the right band at the right time, saying the right thing and wearing the right clothes, man. It's uncanny how it works out. You know what a bunch of loudmouth gobshites we could be. And we didn't mind upsetting people. In fact, we used to enjoy upsetting people.
Rock and roll was designed to have elements of that one. I think some people forget that at times.
Rock and roll for me, right, is a tightrope walk above a razor. You know, if you fall off it, it's danger. It should be dangerous. It should be nasty music made by outsiders. You know, it's not like the bunch of civil servants and accountants you get making music these days. Music is rubbish, isn't it?
Try and describe the level of pride that you feel because of your involvement in the Roses.
Well, do you know what? I just look around Failsworth Mustard and wonder what else would I have done, you know? I'm fiercely proud fiercely proud of what we did, fiercely proud of the people we attracted and fiercely proud of the messages we sent out.